more shots, and I got my trusty Bobby Bobcats here.
Oh shit!
Minutemen Media. Live.
What?
Three
Minutemen
children.
Media for each holder.
Harley, looking good. Beautiful.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Harley here again with Minutemen Media.
Hardcore. He's having a hella.
Harley catches up with Tennessee pro Chase Van Burkleo, hails from Kingston Springs, Tennessee. Van Burkleo finished 2021 as the 351st player in the world and joins Harley Davidson on In the Bag.
What up, guys? I'm Chase Van Burkleo. I'm sponsored by Millennium Golf Disc, Full Flight, Flight Co, Flying Colors, and NPID. So this is a In the Bag, and I'm going to give you a little bit of artistic expression on what I throw. Maybe some stuff is different, maybe some stuff is the same, but it'll give you a little insight on what I'm bombing down the fairways, and maybe give you some opportunity to throw some new stuff in the bag. So I'm gonna start with drivers, and then work my way down to putters, and I will do a little brief explanation on what I throw certain things for. So yeah, let's just dive in, because there's not really a better way to set that up. So I'm going to start with my Innova molds and then round it out to Millennium molds. So and I grew up in the Climo era, so while you see a lot of discs, I don't have a lot of variation when it comes to molds. I just have a lot of the same mold. So I think that's all my Innova drivers, and actually I think that's only one kind of driver. So my go-to driver when it comes to Innova molds are the Boss, or is the Boss. It's super torque resistant, fights the wind a lot. They're very versatile when it comes to backhand and forehand. So it's not just one of those discs you stick in the bag for this one shot, one time, a tournament. I lean on them a lot. They have decent glide, but to be completely honest, if and not downing anybody, but if you don't have the speed to get them up to flight, they're not going to glide a lot, which can be useful for many different things. So great disc, good for all. While it's a fast 13 speed, and it's uncommon to say that those discs are good for all types of players, it's my belief that you can find a place in the bag for the Boss. So I'll just run through them in order of stability. This black Boss I call Black Betty, because she's just a meat cake. She flies like 300 feet max, and she'll take 40-mile-an-hour headwinds. She's crazy. So this is a utility of this for mine. If I need something to meet hook left and don't want to worry about the speed or be touchy with it, I just smack on this thing and it moves left every single time, no problem. I'd say my next instability is this Champion Boss. It's from like 2014. It's just a step down from that, not as stable, has a little more glide. So it flies a little longer, but hooks up just like that black one. And before I go any farther, my style of throwing, I watched a lot of Shoestrick growing up, so I throw baby hyzers to flat. I'm not really throwing a specific disc and releasing it on different angles. I'm throwing that disc on a hyzer. If I throw a mid-range, it's that disc on a hyzer, and I'm letting the disc do the work. So the next step down is I got these two Star Bosses. This one's a new one in the bag, and I keep this one in the bag to have a fresh one whenever this one starts to get a little flippy. But in all honesty, this thing's about 5 years old, and it still pops up, goes straight, no matter how hard I throw it. It just hasn't beat in. So this one is a workhorse in my bag. You'll see me throw this a lot on the course and out on tour. This one's the next one. I just have it in the bag just in case I lose this one. That way I feel confident what I'm throwing, and I can know what I'm doing out there. I don't have to guess and be nervous about my shot. So those two. The next disc I have, this one I flick a lot. This one's a very neutral disc, very straight. Hyzer flip to straight. and I can maneuver this disc a lot from a baby hyzer, depending on the angle and the speed at which I throw. So this one's kind of the medium in all these bosses. I don't throw it as much because it's a little finicky when it comes to wind, but it definitely gets used a lot in my bag when there's no wind, just because it's similar to this boss. I know what it does, like the back of my hand. I've thrown it so many times. So if I'm not throwing this boss, typically I'm throwing this glow boss. Next up, we got this first run champ boss. This one, I flick and throw backhand on very specific shots. This thing is really flippy. It can almost be used as a roller disc now, but it's perfect for Tennessee woods golf and Bama and North Carolinas, which I play a lot. It's very pop up from hyzer, straight. Doesn't really do anything else. It doesn't hold torque well. It doesn't hold speed, which is good. It fits my bag right where I need it. It's very flippy. It'll do exactly what I want. Curved lines through the woods, that kind of thing. And then the next step down is this boss, which is just more beat in from this first run champ. I can work this disc and throw this from standstills, and it'll hyzer flip and flex for me. So that's with the bosses. Next we'll go to, and similar to my bosses, I find what I like, and I don't really have a lot of different drivers. I've got probably 3 molds of drivers. I don't mess around and throw 10 different things. I'm pretty confident of what I'm throwing. So before I move on to the drivers, the Scorpiuses, I've got one destroyer in the bag, and this thing is my roller disc. No need to explain what that does. It rolls. High hyzers over stuff, drop down in a roller. This is just like this black boss. It's a utility disc for certain shot shapes, but I like to have it in the bag because when you're in that position, you don't want to be forcing something. This can save you a lot of strokes, having a couple utility discs in the bag. So that'd be my recommendation for a lot of people out there. Definitely find something that works for very wonky shots, because you're not planning to be on in those positions, but when you are, it definitely helps to have something you can lean on. So these are all my Scorpiuses. I'll start out with my 2 most flippy. This is super domey, super pop top, flies for days. This has a lot of glide, which also means that it's very touchy when it comes to angle. So I'm throwing this when there's no wind, no OB, and I have all the room in the world to crush something as far as I need. This is my go-to driver, this Serious Scorp. The second one is this Pro Scorp that I just got about a month ago. It's actually a little flatter, but it's a hair more stable than that orange one, and I use this one a lot for flicks just because it's flatter. I don't like flicking super domey stuff, so this fits right where that disc flies for me backhand, but with forehand. This one is just a hair more stable than that red Pro one for flicks, super flat. This is my workhorse when it comes to Scorpiuses. This is just like this Glow Boss, very straight, hyzer flip to straight. I can maneuver the angles, make it ride on an anhyzer for longer, throw it on hyzer if I've got no wind, and it does the same thing forehand and backhand. So this is my workhorse when it comes to comparison to bosses. Now, this progression, this is my like middle stability when it comes to Scorpiuses. These have the most glide out of all the Scorpiuses other than that orange one, but these are a little more torque resistant, so I can throw these way harder than I can with those and trust that I'll get the same flight path, but without having to be as conscientious about the angle I'm putting it on. So these have a little more variance when it comes to miss, if that makes sense. This one's my flippy one. This one is my straight one, dead straight. This one is a stable one that I can gear up on a little bit and get it to move, but if I'm throwing this, I'm throwing it on a baby hyzer and it just rides all the way out. And then this one's a fresh one I just put in, and I'm keeping this one new for for my peace of mind when I need to throw a stable shot with a little bit of glide. Now the top end of my Scorpius is I've got this flat Quantum Scorpius, super stable. This is as stable as this brand new Star Boss. Very torque resistant, has dang near no glide. It just smack on it as hard as you want and it's gonna finish left or right, depending if you're right-handed or left-handed when it comes to backhand. I don't really throw this much on a forehand because I throw this Boss on a forehand, but if I'm looking for the same flight backhand and I want a little more stability when it comes to this Boss and I don't want to go on the high end, this is as close to that blue one as I can get without being too stable. This yellow one is just a meat cake. I put this in the bag a month ago. I thought it would be much like these, but it's super stable. It's almost as stable as that blue one, and I typically use this for the same shot, this straight power shot that I'm using that blue one for, but if I need to go 30-40 feet farther, this will glide out because it has that nice jump with it. And then I have, to round out the drivers, I've got a PD2 in the bag, and this is a step lower than this Black Boss. If you've thrown a PD2 before, it's just super stable, trusted in the wind. The reason why I have this is that it gets a little more glide than this Black Boss. It flies a little further, but with the same hookup.
Our men have achieved accomplishments.
Let's talk about that signature real quick.
Oh, the Greg Barsby signature. Yeah, Greg is my boy. He's helped me out a lot in my disc golf career, along with Logan Bowers, and they're both on the Millennium team. And they, without going into much detail, they have helped me in tight spots, and they vouch for me, and they've supported me, been in my corner a long time. So I appreciate them.
I'm a huge Barsby fan.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Barsby's sick. Barsby's great. All right, let's go to.
Good more shots, and I got my trusty Bobby Bobcats here.
Oh shit!
Minutemen Media. We're live.
What?
Three for each hole.
For each hole.
Good more shots.
Minutemen Media.
Harley, looking good. Beautiful.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Harley here again with Minutemen Media.
Hard course. He's having a hella.
All right, so starting with Innova. I got two Firebirds in the bag. This Champion Firebird has been in my bag for a while, and I strictly use it for forehand rollers. Not a common shot you see on tour from most people, but for those that have seen me throw forehand roller, this is what I'm throwing. This is my go-to. I actually love this shot for the woods. Speaking in forms of physics and mathematics, this has a way bigger chance of hitting a tree since it's wider, more surface area than this. So I lean on this shot a lot in the woods. I get it down to the ground, and this sneaks through the trees sometimes way better than throwing an air shot. And I'm super comfortable with this as a get out of trouble shot. So this is a workhorse in my bag, forehand roller. This is my super stable Firebird. Shout out to Ed. He's one of my sponsors of Flying Colors. This is just a meat cake of a Firebird. It's a flat top glow Firebird from 2010. It's been in my bag for over a couple years now, and it hasn't beat in. Doesn't look the prettiest, but it is a workhorse. I never have to worry about it flipping over or standing up at all, really. It just moves left the entire way. So my bag is pretty set up when it's set up as a stable bag. I don't really have a lot of flippy stuff. I like gearing up on stuff and just throwing it a little harder and making it move. That way I don't have to deal with angles, and this thing I can throw it as hard as I want and it's moving left the entire way. So we'll go to a little more glidier stuff when it comes to Innova. I've got one KC Pro Eagle. This is very torque resistant, but glidey. When I say torque resistant, it can handle a lot of snap without moving, without getting way over on an ante. It'll handle a lot of snap, a lot of power, and still keep pushing straight. But at the same time, it actually glides a lot. This is one of my straightest flying Eagles and straightest flying fairways, and it goes straight the entire way. I can flick it, throw it backhand. This is actually a workhorse of mine. So next on to T-Birds. This is my most stable T-Bird. It's a Metal Flake T-Bird from like 2013, I believe. It's been in the bag a long time. This actually used to be Blake Waldron's, so shout out to Blake. I think I got it from Logan. Might have got it from Logan. It may have went to Logan. I can't remember who I got it from after it left Blake. But it's been in a few people's bags and it's still very, very stable. This is a T-Bird that I throw if I want a little more distance, but it flies exactly like my Firebird. It just pushes a little further straight. So it's a good thing to have in the bag when you're in the woods and you're trying to throw a right to left moving shot. But say you have danger really early on the hole, and that's the worst thing you want to do is leave it early. And this is what I'm using in spite of having that Firebird, to push a little farther and to secure the fact that I clear a lot of danger in the wood, but still have that nice trusty hookup at the end. So next would be my Star T-Bird. This flies exactly like this Glow Boss of mine. It's just dead straight. I'm gonna compare everything to what I did before because it's just a little easier to digest. But this flies exactly like my Glow Boss, just a little slower. Hyzer flip to straight, that's what it's made to do. You can maneuver the angles a little bit, but if I'm pulling this out, I want this thing to go dead straight. And it's been in the bag a while. I got this from Jimmy Elkins. He's a hometown boy around Nashville, and it's been in the bag ever since he gave it to me. It's just perfect. It feels like old CE plastic. It's really, really grimy and sticky, and I'm a big fan of that. So this is my straight fairway. And then I've got a CE T-Bird in the bag, and this is just super, super flippy. I'm throwing this for big anhizers, hyzer flip anhizers. I don't throw it on a flick just because it's too flippy. This is my turnover fairway driver that I lean on a lot. It just moves for me without having to force it, if that makes sense. Very trusty. All right, now to Millennium stuff. So I carry 2 Dracos in the bag. This one is the recent run of Dracos, super flat, super stable, very similar to this Glow Firebird. That's why I picked them up, just because I'm tired of searching for really old Firebirds, and it flies very similar, so no need to explain it, just a meat hook. This is my test flight Draco that I got from Telly, also a hometown boy in Nashville. This thing is very straight. It's a hard one to describe. It's torque resistant, but it's got a lot of glide. If I had to compare it to anything, I would compare it to this Eagle I described, but this is a hair faster, obviously. It's a 9-speed, and it's got a little more hookup than that Eagle at the end. That Eagle has a soft hyzer finish. This one has a decent hookup, but not like this Firebird. It's very, very controllable, overstable 9-speed. So I use it a lot for flicks. I use it a lot for flex shots that I'm spinning my wrist instead of snapping on it. Same with the backhand. I spin this thing a lot. Just very controllable. So I carry 4 Orion LFs. These are a 9-speed, but unlike the Firebird, they're like a faster, I don't know, I compare them to a Valkyrie when it comes to the Innova mold, but they're some people compare them to Thunderbirds. They're just very, very straight and just have that little extra speed to get you more than an Eagle or a T-Bird. So this is what I'm throwing when I need long wood shots that need to be on a rope. So to go through this progression, I've got a flippy one. Just like everything else in my bag, I stair step up. So I got a super flippy one, hyzer to turn over. My next one up is this one. It's actually not as beat up. These are pretty similar. This blue one and this purple one. This one's been in the bag a little longer, but it's pretty straight now, and it moves just a hair. So it's starting to shift over to that green one I've got. And the reason why I put one, the reason why I have two in the same spot is because if I'm throwing this shot and I want it to go straight all the way down a tunnel, say in a woods course, I need it not to move at all, and I need to have confidence. So most of the time I'm pulling out this blue one because it just goes dead straight on a rope. And then I've got this green one that I've been saving, and I'm putting it in the bag for this weekend. I got this one from Greg, the man, the myth himself, the legend. It's no Rhino left, and this one's stable. I've got to throw it a couple times. It's just perfect. It's a hair step lower than this Draco, but has a little more glide. So that's what I'm using this Rhino left for. Now to mid-ranges and putters. And I'll just do this before I go any further. I putt with KC AVRs. I putted with them for years and years and years. Haven't really done anything different. So that's my go-to. They're just super straight and they have a nice hard finish at the end. And that's kind of my putting style. I have a splish putt, meaning a spin mixed with a push putt. So these are just, that's probably never gonna change. But I'll never say never. You never know, but that's a workhorse of mine. So yeah, so I'm gonna move on to some utility discs on the low side of speed before I get into drivers and putters. So I've got this Pro Rhino. This disc is strictly for forehands. The only thing I use it for is turnover forehands. It's very, very flippy. One of the flippiest discs in my entire bag. So I'm throwing this for standstill shots or like straddle out shots where I'm strictly just trying to move the disc from right to left and I don't have a swing with a backhand. And I'm throwing it for up shots too, little touchy up shots, floater up shots. This has been in the bag a long time. Yeah, it's strictly made for forehands. There's nothing else to say about that. And then this is my Scott Withers Gator. It's the first run of them from 2018, and it is super stable. It's been in my bag since 2018, so pushing 5 years old, and it hasn't beaten at all. If you see me play, I'm pulling this disc out probably more than any other disc in my entire bag. I use this backhand up shots, forehand up shots off the tee. It's super torque resistant, so I can throw it as hard as I want, and it's always gonna fight back on axis, whatever that word is, axis, yeah. So yeah, it's always gonna fight back to the original path that you threw it on. That's a better way to say that. Yeah, so it's super, super trusty. Throw it in headwinds, tailwinds. Thank God I have backups for this because this makes me money. This is my go-to. Everybody's gonna have a Gator in the bag. All right, so mid-ranges. I've got, for like 5-speed mid-ranges, I got a Steve Brinster Sentinel, which is, the way I describe it is it's stable, but it's smooth stable. So it doesn't hook, it just drifts towards whatever position you started at. If you're a lefty, it'll drift right. If you're a right-handed person, it'll drift left. If you're throwing it backhand, don't use this for forehands. So it's just very, very stable and trusty, and I can throw it flat on a hyzer and know that it's going to slowly drift back on hyzer. So it's super trusty in the woods, and when I need something a little faster and less hookup than that Gator, this is what I'm throwing. And I've got a 10-time rock, and it's very flippy. I use this rock for rollers. If it's too long to throw this destroyer roller, and it's a wonky like horseshoe shaped hole or dog leg, sometimes I'll throw this rock on a roller. It's just crazy flippy. I'll throw it over trees on a big hyzer for big sky hyzer annies. Yeah, this one doesn't get used a lot. This is more of a utility disc, just like this Black Boss and this red destroyer. But when I need it, it comes in clutch. All right, I'm gonna shift a little bit and go to putters. I have one DX AVR that's very flippy. I use for turnover putter shots. Strictly it. Maybe every once in a while I'll do a patent pending shot with it. It's just super straight, very grabby around the green. Doesn't skip a lot. And then I've got two Q Megas, Quantum Q Megas. This one's super straight, super torque resistant. It's got a lot of glide. Like, I was genuinely impressed when I threw this the first time. It glides forever. I actually have to throw it softer than I think I do, otherwise I'm overthrowing the hole. It flies forever. It's pretty unreal. So this one's straight. I use this for up shots when I'm not throwing the Gator. If I need something, just a dead straight shot, I'll be throwing this Q Mega. And then I put this other Q Mega in the bag, and this one's just this more stable version of that one I just tossed. This will be the next one in line when that one gets a little flippy. But yeah, that's all this is just a fresher one. And then I carry 5 Champion Classic rocks. So order progression, I've got a super flippy Champion Classic rock. It's the same position as that DX AVR. It's just a little faster. That's what I use that for. I've got a straight to turnover red classic rock. It's a good woods disc when I want to power down on something and still have it go straight. And if I power up on it and need a turnover, I can trust that it's not going to cut roll. It's just going to fly smooth all the way out. So that's what I'm using that one for. I've got this blueberry classic rock that's just dead straight. I throw it super hard, goes dead straight. Perfect woods disc. Yeah, this one's has become a workhorse the last year. It's just very straight, very trusty. And then this one I lean on a lot because it's my stable classic rock. It's probably, other than that Gator, one of the mid-ranges I throw the most. It's stable for a classic rock. It doesn't want to go straight. If you throw it soft, it's hooking left, and if you throw it hard, it's gliding left the entire way. Similar to that Sentinel, just a little bit slower. So yeah, I believe that's all the discs I have in my bag. I'll empty out the pockets. I carry 2 pouches. Obviously you can see I have a ridiculous amount of discs, but I love frisbees, so I like giving them all flight time. And then all my pockets are filled with towels. I like having like at least 10 towels, because when it's raining out there, one towel's tough. It gets wet really fast. Pretty simple stuff, but it's definitely worth having more towels. And then I've got my Greg Barsby dry bag, and I also keep a plastic bag. This is a pro tip. When it's raining outside, I wrap my dry bag in a grocery bag and wrap it in a towel, and I keep it in the bottom of my bag. And I actually throw a little dirt in my bag too, just to keep everything dry. I know some people can throw wet discs, but I'm not one of them. I haven't learned that skill yet. I've been practicing, but yeah, I like my stuff super dry. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my bag. I've got this Innova bag. Logan Bowers actually gave this to me, so shout out for Logan. I haven't tore this one up. I tore the last one up that he gave me, so he gave this one to me for my birthday, so still holding strong. But yeah, guys, I guess to give you the outro, Just a little background on my history in disc golf. I got started in 2002 in Texas, visiting my grandparents. We went to a park and I got introduced to disc golf. First disc I ever threw was a CE Eagle, so a good start. I was 5, so I continued to play since then, and I kind of got the bug. And now being out on tour and traveling a lot, I have 3 wins, bunch of top 10 finishes in A tiers, and just out here grinding and enjoy playing disc golf. So hope to see you out there.
Hard.